Magandang araw sa ating lahat. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Nandito na naman po sa programa natin, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. Kumusta kayo? Okay ba kayo? Okay lang ba ang buhay natin? Mga kababayan ko, wherever you are, dyan po sa Pilipinas, ang mga overseas Filipino workers sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. And of course, ang mga kababayan ko dito po sa Malaysia, and very specific dito po sa Sabah, kumusta tayo? And salamat pagi, salamat patang, salamat malam sa ating lahat po, no? Sa ating lahat. And may good news tayo, no? May good news tayo. Anong good news natin po is umalis na si Super Typhoon Uwan, no? But may report din na baka mamaya o bukas babalik na naman dito po sa Philippine Area of Responsibility bago magdiretso na siya po para sa Taiwan. So, yun po ang good news natin, and may kunting bad news kasi, pero hindi na talaga, kung magdaan pa yun sa Philippine Area of Responsibility, hindi na tayo masyadong affected talaga po, no? Ang mga inlands natin, no? Hindi na, although we will be experiencing some downpours, rains po, no? But hindi na kagaya what happened last Sunday and kahapon dito po sa mga affected areas, wherein it was reported na mayroon tayong number of 8 fatalities. May 8 namatay, and we still don't know how many injured, and nag-assess pa ang authorities natin po sa damage, no? Sa damage po. So, Catanduanes, Aurora po, these areas po, yun po talaga badly hit dyan po sa Typhoon Uwan. And at the same time, maganda din ang nalaman natin na ang Metro Manila, ang Manila natin area po, no? Hindi talaga affected. Although ready ang mga authorities dyan po sa Manila in the event that things get worse or worsen, no? But as of today's official reports coming from the national media, mga legit media dyan po sa Pilipinas, na hindi apektado talaga ang Manila area when it comes to itong si Typhoon Uwan. And mayroon din mga reports sa iba-ibang parte ng lugar natin o probinsya natin dyan po sa Pilipinas na experience din, na hirapan din sa typhoon or super typhoon na Uwan. And I can share with you, kagaya yon sa Zamboanga, there are some barangays, no? There are some barangays flooded din po, no? Na experience sila ng flood, and may konting threat sila tungkol sa rising water. But so far, everything okay naman. And thanks God. Thanks to our Almighty God for helping the Philippines po, no? Avoid itong malaking or maraming fatalities or patay po. And sana lang po ang damage to properties and of course ang mga agricultural lands natin po, no? And other sectors po hindi talaga will experience, no? Experience malaking damage po. Hindi kagaya what happened kay Typhoon Tino, no? Typhoon Tino, I think we recorded something like 224 death or fatalities. At saka dami din ang missing and injuries. But dito si Typhoon or Super Typhoon Uwan, no? It was also reported that mayroon tayong something like 1.4 million people evacuated po, no? They were asked to temporarily evacuate from their homes or houses po for safety reasons. And bumalik na sila po. Some of them already bumalik, but there are still some who are still staying dyan po sa evacuation centers natin, no? And if I'm not mistaken, 10 regions tayo affected by Typhoon Uwan. But hindi talaga po, no? Hindi talaga sabihin natin as serious as what we experienced during the time of ito si Typhoon Tino. Anyway, Nandito po, I will give you first ang report tungkol sa Typhoon Uwan. And then later on, I will give you some details regarding mga updates sa Typhoon Uwan po. So in the meantime, let me share with you itong video footage po. And I know that you also want to listen. Listen ano talaga ang latest developments natin tungkol itong typhoon na ito po. Nandito na and sandali lang. Okay. I will share with you itong video clip and listen to this report. I purposely choose ang reports po, no? In English version kasi I was made to understand, no? There are some messages I received for the past few days po. Ang mga Malaysian friends natin and other foreign nationals who are watching itong program natin po, they could hardly understand what is reported. Kaya nga, they're also very concerned about the, sabi natin, ang floods sa Pilipinas. Because Typhoon Kino and Typhoon Uwan po, whether we like it or not po, this has been internationally concerned, no? Daming tao, daming mga nation po who is really monitoring, watching ang mga developments dyan po sa Pilipinas tungkol sa mga typhoon natin. No? Especially now is the season of typhoon sa Philippines and medyo ano na po. Later on you can see sa video that I'm going to share with you po ang mga informations that you need to know about ang mga typhoons po, natural calamities like typhoon. So, nandito, let's watch and listen to this. Okay, sandali. Alright, nandito po.
The storm is gone, but the danger is not. Yesterday, monster waves from Super Typhoon Uwan slammed Philippine coastlines, leaving 1.4 million people displaced and entire highways underwater. Some now fear these epic surges could trigger a tsunami. Experts say the threat is real, just not in the way most people imagine. What is actually happening beneath the waves, and how much risk remains along the battered shore? A satellite loop captures the last spirals of Uwan as it leaves Luzon behind, but the devastation on the ground is unmistakable. Flood maps from Pagasa, updated at midday, show entire stretches of Aurora, Albay, and Cagayan provinces still underwater. The latest NDRRMC bulletins confirm more than 800,000 people displaced, with confirmed deaths now rising to 8. Key highways have vanished beneath mud, water, or collapsed bridges. The Nueva Ecija-Aurora Road is closed at kilometer 105 due to landslides. The Baler-Casigran Road is impassable where a bridge washed out. In Albay, the Maharlika Highway near Kamalig is choked with lahar and flood debris, with only a single lane open for emergency vehicles. The Legazpi-Tabaco Road remains blocked by mud flow and overturned vehicles. North in Cagayan, the Cagayan-Apayao Road is cut off by a collapsed bridge and deep floodwaters, while the Magapit-Gadaran Road is restricted to one-way traffic as water levels refuse to drop. Power is out for more than 120,000 households along the coast, and many villages remain isolated. Emergency shelters crowd highway junctions where relief trucks halt at roadblocks. Drone footage reveals the scale. Entire barangays surrounded by water, rooftops barely visible above the flood, and rescue boats weaving through debris. Each blocked road, every submerged field, is a reminder that the danger lingers long after the storm's eye has moved on. The official maps and closure notices, stamped with source and time, leave no doubt. This is not over. Recovery crews and families alike face a landscape still shaped by water, waiting for the next wave or warning. Long after the winds have faded, the ocean keeps sending waves ashore. Along the battered coastline, the danger now comes from residual swell, long rolling waves that can continue to arrive for up to 3 days after a typhoon. These swells are not just leftovers. They are the ocean's way of releasing stored energy, and they do not need visible storms to be deadly. Instrument data from Pagasa's Baler tide gauge, just north of the storm's landfall, captured a sharp 30-centimeter water level pulse at 4:14 a.m. on November 10, 2025. The trace shows a sudden spike from 0.7 to 1.02 meters, then a rapid drop, all within 2 tsunami signal, but it is proof that the sea's energy is still arriving in bursts. Source, Pagasa, Station PH. Baylor, 01, 2025, from 0413 to 0415 Philippine time. A Pagasa meteorologist says long-period waves mean Cebu, Samar, and Bicol coasts may see hazardous surf and flooding 24 to 72 hours after the last band of Feng Wang dissipates. Stay off shorelines until tide stations trend downward. Source, Pagasa, 2025, Philippine time. Beyond the numbers, the physical risk is clear. Water that surged inland during the storm now rushes back out, creating powerful rebound surges in river mouths and bays. These flows can reverse without warning, flooding villages for a second time. In the surf zone, floating debris such as roof panels, tree limbs, and fishing nets turns the water into a minefield, endangering rescue teams and anyone returning home. Even as the sky clears, the ocean remains unpredictable. Coastlines are not safe yet. Keep your distance from the water, follow local warnings, and wait for confirmed downward trends at tide stations before returning. Screens light up with warnings, rumors, and shaky videos. Overnight, a single clip claiming a midnight tsunami threat spread across Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, shared more than 280,000 times in just a few hours. Hashtags like #MonsterWave and #Uwan Tsunami trended in the Philippines, pushing panic through group chats and community pages. Some posts show families packing up, others feature sirens blaring in the dark, all with captions urging people to flee coastal barangays immediately. The original video, uploaded by a storm-chasing channel, overlays dramatic music on grainy shots of churning surf. Within minutes, copycat accounts amplify the message, each adding their own speculation or political spin. Share graphs spike as screenshots of supposed official warnings circulate. Many are doctored or outdated. The comment sections fill with fear, confusion, and calls for help, drowning out quieter voices linking to actual Pagasa and 50LCS bulletins. Amid the noise, a simple question keeps resurfacing. Can these monster waves really trigger a tsunami? Or is something else fueling the fear? In a crisis, the difference between rumor and reality can be a matter of who you trust and where you look for answers. Rumors can spread faster than the waves themselves, but the science behind tsunami warnings is built on hard evidence and a strict chain of responsibility. In the Philippines, the task of separating fact from fear falls to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. Each agency monitors a different part of the threat pipeline. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration tracks meteorological surges and residual waves, while the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology assesses seismic activity and
Berdiri di bawah pun boleh cantas dan setinggi 5 meter macam ni. Tak perlu lagi memanjat untuk memangkas dahan api.
underwater landslide risk. A seismologist from the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology explains that slope failures can generate dangerous waves even without a quake. Our sensors look for any sudden pressure change that may signal such failures along the trench. This vigilance is not theoretical. Vigilance is how we find the signals that matter. On November 15, 1994, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake off Mindoro triggered a submarine landslide and a local tsunami that killed 78 people. That event changed how agencies coordinate. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology now operates a round-the-clock network of tide gauges, dart buoys, and seismic stations, all feeding data to national and local officials. When a sudden sea level spike or a seismic tremor appears, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issue preliminary statements within minutes. If the anomaly is confirmed, alerts move to local governments who order evacuations. If not, the advisory is canceled and the public is updated. This system is designed to catch real threats while filtering out panic. The chain is only as strong as its weakest link, so every instrument and every bulletin matters. As new scenarios develop, it is this blend of vigilance and verification that keeps communities safe. Most forecasts now show wave heights slowly dropping along the eastern seaboard. Satellite-based models from the Japan Meteorological Agency and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration agree that the main pulse from Fenghuang is decaying, and coastal risk maps are being downgraded in real time. For most towns, this means a gradual return to normal, roads reopening, power lines repaired, and the ocean's surface smoothing out. A scientist at the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute says that wave energy can travel for days, but unless there is a new trigger, the worst is over for the broad coastline. The bathymetry graphic for Malele, however, tells a different story just below the surface. In these submarine canyons, a single underwater slope failure can unleash a localized wave, even after the typhoon has passed. Recent sonar surveys show a fresh slide scar in the Malele Canyon head, estimated at 6.2 million cubic meters of displaced sediment. That is enough to move water quickly and catch nearby villages off guard. While the big regional threat is fading, the risk of a sudden local surge remains. Agencies are watching these hotspots closely, alert for any sign of a rogue wave forming where the seabed has been weakened. A major offshore earthquake, magnitude 6.5 or higher, can change everything in minutes. 5 LCS, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, operates seismic stations that scan the Philippine Trench because a tectonic slip could trigger a true tsunami.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin ang report. We heard this report po, and of course, let us not be overconfident that Typhoon Uwan has left the country, and it doesn't mean wala pa tayong threat po, no? There could be other threats like big waves, no? It can happen. Kaya nga, ingat na ingat tayo, and make sure that we continue to follow ang whatever advices given to us by the authorities concerned, ang gobyerno natin po. So at least we'll be safe. You know, what I noticed during the time of Uwan, no? Sunday, Monday po, no? But prior to the arrival or landfall of Super Typhoon Uwan, no? There was already an alert or a warning issued by the authorities concerned or ang gobyerno natin po, and asking the people to prepare, po, no? And maganda yun po, at least mayroon mga warnings, and we managed to prepare, no? To prepare. So, less ang, you see, good preparation, the result is less ang fatality po. Less ang fatality. Although if we will compare between typhoon, Super Typhoon Tino and Super Typhoon Uwan, malakas ang angin sa Typhoon Uwan compared to Tino. But the problem is, ang daming namatay sa Typhoon na Tino po, no? Ano ba ito? Dahil sa preparation or what? And sana lang po, ang authorities concerned, local government units natin po, DSWD, will continue to feed, no? Itong mga typhoon na victims po, because whether we like it or not po, we do not expect that once they go back to their home, to their houses po, it doesn't mean na back to normal na ang buhay nila. Hindi pa yun po, no? Mahirapan pa sila to cook their own food dahil obviously nawala na mga kitchen utensils nila, no? Even ang mga tangke, gas tanks nila po, no? Nawala. Ang fridge nila nasira or whatever electrical items mayroon tayo sa bahay, dahil if you notice ang tubig ng Tino at saka ang Uwan, no, nag-reach hanggang sa roof ng bahay. So what else can you expect? And then after that they have to repair the houses. Kulang yon. For me, nakita natin mga criticism, negative reaction coming from the public when no less than our President Ferdinand Marcos announced that those houses partially damaged, the government will be giving them 5,000 pesos. And those totally damaged, they will be given 10,000 pesos to repair. Klarong-klaro yun po, repair. No? Sana lang po ang presidente nagsabi na this will just help para sa food ninyo. In the meantime, while we are preparing other assistance to repair ang houses ninyo po. is only after criticisms came out, negative criticism came out, wherein the spokesperson dyan po sa Malacanang said hindi yon po para sa bahay but for pagkain ng mga tao po, no? Mga victims. No? So medyo na-confuse or whatever, na-confuse ang mga tao dahil ang statement ni President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, sabi niya 5,000 for the repair of houses damaged partially and 10,000 for, sabihin natin, ang mga houses totally damaged. Grabe po, if you think about it, 5 and 10,000 po is not enough. Thinking na ang presyo, ang mga presyo ng mga materials natin ngayon po is very high. And to think about it, 5,000 and 10,000 po, I really doubt. Kung sino man yon nag-advise kay President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos to announce this kind of financial assistance po, no? Sana nag-isip muna sila. At saka ang presidente natin, sana po nag-isip muna siya po bago nag-announce siya itong 5,000 and 10,000 financial assistance. But anyway, nandyan na yon. And we hope na ang gobyerno, no, will be extending further or another assistance sa mga typhoon victims, sa mga typhoon victims, so that they will be able to repair ang damaged houses nila, and at the same time try to siguro hindi naman siguro as soon as possible po, mahirap na yan po. It will take time for them to return back to a normal life, no? Worried na ako po because next month is Christmas, Pasko na po. Kawawa naman itong mga typhoon victims natin po whose homes were partially damaged and houses were totally damaged po. Totally damaged. So, sana mga empleyado or mga employers natin dyan po sa Pilipinas will also consider in the event their employees, mga workers nila po, could not come and report immediately sa trabaho nila po because they have to look after ang buhay nila after the 2 typhoons. Sana lang po they have to consider ang mga absences ng typhoon victims po, no? Typhoon victims. Alright, later on I will share with you with other video clips. In the meantime, I just want to inform you na ano talaga, no? Ano talaga ang mga latest updates tungkol sa Typhoon Uwan. Alright? So, let me share with you itong news po, no? Which I managed to get. Dyan po sa Philstar, ang national media outlet natin or newspaper dyan po sa Pilipinas. Now, let me read you this story or this news article. Despite heavy rains and a red rainfall warning, Metro Manila escaped severe flooding during the onslaught of Super Typhoon Uwan, local authorities said kahapon or yesterday. San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora said the city did not experience any flooding despite continuous rains. We expected much worse, but we had no flooding. We evacuated more than 500 families early and ensured their safety, sabi ni Zamora, Mayor Zamora. In Malabon, light flooding of 3 to 4 inches deep was observed in barangays Ibaba, Maysilo, Panghulo, and San Agustin, although all roads remain passable. Parts of M. Naval Street in Navotas became impossible to light vehicles yesterday, kahapon dito po, morning, due to floodwaters reaching 18 inches deep. Navotas Mayor John Ray Tiangco explained that the flooding was caused by strong sea waves and high tide which pushed seawater inland. There was a strong inflow of water because of the light or high tide and strong winds. Even now, the sea remains rough, he said in Filipino, clarifying that the water came from the sea and not from the navigational gate. Low-lying coastal areas were among the most affected, he added, though the gate has since been closed to prevent further seawater intrusion. In Caloocan, city officials reported fallen trees in Barangay 175 and along C3 Road, but no major flooding. In Marikina recorded continuous rains, but the river level stayed below the critical mark of 14 meters. In Manila Mayor Isko Moreno also reported that the city was spared from major flooding and recorded no casualties. Maganda yun po. In Mandaluyong, flood threats subsided by Monday morning and the roads were declared clear and passable. After Uwan weekend, evacuees across Metro Manila began returning home. In Caloocan, 6,540 people were preemptively evacuated, while Malabon sheltered 3,394 people in 17 evacuation centers. In Venezuela City housed 10,261 people from 26 barangays in 42 evacuation centers. In Pasig, 865 families from 17 barangays took shelter in 24 centers, while 15 others were placed on standby. Zamora said more than 500 families from flood-prone areas were moved to safe ground as a precaution, while in Mandaluyong, 31 families temporarily evacuated from Barangay Daang Bakal, Edition Hill, and Old Zaniga, but returned home after flood threats subsided. Quezon City recorded the highest number of evacuees with 31,364 people housed in 161 evacuation centers across 67 barangays. Mandatory evacuations were implemented as early as Sunday afternoon, with disaster response teams fully mobilized to assist residents in low-lying communities. Despite the strong winds and heavy rains brought by a super typhoon Uwan, authorities reported no widespread destruction or severe damage across Metro Manila. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authorities said only isolated incidents were recorded, including the collapse of side panel from an electric billboard along Katipunan Avenue in Quezon City, which struck a vehicle and a motorcycle, slightly injured 2 people. Yun po ang sitwasyon sa Manila area na maganda po, no? Although we were expecting, no? Worse to come sa Manila, because earlier reports coming from Pagasa na baka badly affected din ang Manila area. But so far, maraming salamat sa Panginoon, no? Maraming salamat sa mga tao. Maraming salamat din po sa local government units sa Manila, no? Because maganda ang preparation natin po. And thanks God na hindi talaga malakas ang typhoon na Uwan dyan po sa Manila area. Manila area po. So yon ang latest developments natin. But don't be confident po, no? And always be prepared. Laging handa, no? Laging handa tayo. And listen to the advisory given by our government or local authorities. That's the only way that we can make sure that we will be safe from any eventualities po. Maganda yun po. And sana lang po yun mga kaibigan natin, kababayan natin affected by the typhoon, not only in Manila but in other areas po, especially areas wherein badly affected by Typhoon Uwan. Sana lang po, no? They will always be safe, no? Maskin wala na itong si Typhoon Uwan. Typhoon Uwan po. So, this time around, let me share with you footage po, no? Mayroon tayong dito footage po. Yon emergency briefing kay Ferdinand or President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. No? Nandito po, it was reported this morning, and let me share with you itong video clip. Itong video clip po. 149, sandali ha. 149 ang cue natin, and let's watch to this video clip po. 149. Sandali yun, ang 149. Sandali.
Sa situation briefing sa Malacanang, binigyang diin ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang patuloy na pagbabantay sa epekto ng bagyo, lalo't inaasahan ang patuloy na mapag-ulan at pagbaha hanggang Martes. Pinangunahan ng Pangulo ang mga hakbang sa pagtugon sa kalamidad habang pinamunuan niya ang isang situation briefing hinggil sa epekto ng Super Typhoon Uwan na ginanap sa Command Operations Center ng Presidential Security Command sa Malacanang nitong Lunes. Ayon kay Palace Press Officer at Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro, iniutos ni PBBM sa Department of Social Welfare and Development at Department of Health na ipagpatuloy ang pagbibigay ng tulong at tiyakin na may mga medical team na nakaantabay para sa mga evacuee. Ayon sa DSWD, ang Bicol Region ang may pinakamaraming pamilya sa mga evacuation center kung saan nasa mahigit 100,000 pamilya ang apektado sa rehiyon.
Ayon sa DSWD, patuloy nilang binabantayan ang mga evacuation operations at status ng mga evacuees. Ipinag-utos din ng Pangulo sa Department of Health o DOH sa pangunguna ni Secretary Ted Herbosa na siguraduhin mayroong mga medical teams sa lahat ng evacuation centers upang mabantayan ang kalusugan ng mga evacuees.
Ipinag-utos din ng Pangulo sa Department of Public Works and Highways na agad simulan ang rehabilitasyon ng mga nasirang kalsada upang mapabilis ang mga operasyong pantulong. Pinaalalahanan ni Marcos Jr. ang lahat ng kaukulang ahensya na ipagpatuloy ang mga hakbang upang matugunan ang epekto ng Typhoon Tino. Kasabay ng pagtugon sa Super Typhoon Uwan, pinuri naman ng Pangulo ang maayos na paghahanda ng mga ahensya matapos ipahayag ng Office of Civil Defense na ang isinagawang preemptive evacuation sa mahigit 400,000 pamilya ay nakatulong ng malaki upang mapawasan ng
Alright, yun po ang emergency briefing kay President Ferdinand Marcos, and this time around I'm going to share with you ang sitwasyon, ang report dyan po sa Pasay City, galing ang report sa SMNI, SMNI po. Okay, nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Narito tayo ngayon sa Malibay Central Plaza ng Pasay City kung saan pansamantalang nanuluyan ang daang mga residente na inilikas dahil nga sa banta ng pagbaha at malakas na hangin tulad nga nitong bagyong Uwan. Batay sa ulat ng Pasay City Social Welfare and Development Department o PSWDD, kabilang sa mga apektadong barangay ang Barangay 144, Barangay 177, Barangay 162 at Barangay 165, mga lugar na madalas bahain tuwing may malalakas na pag-ulan. Ang ilan sa mga residente ay hindi nag-atubiling lumikas para sa kanilang kaligtasan. Kasi po yung bahay namin umuuga na doon sa Barangay 144. Kaya pinalipat kami dito ni Cap. Kasi po, kaya kami lumikas dito po kasi tabing ilog po kami. Isa po, yung bahay po namin babalang, wala po kaming taas. Siyempre, naranasan namin lagi mataas ang baha, wala kaming taas. Kaya natatakot ako, nagkapugyan kapag nangyari sa Cebu. Kaya nag-decision ako sa mga anak ko na lumikas na tayo para tayo makasigurado. Malakas
Evacuation Center Information Board sa Malibay Plaza. Kabuang 89 na pamilya o 310 katao ang pansamantalang nanuluyan sa evacuation center. Karamihan sa mga evacuee ay mga bata, matatanda at mga solo parent na wala namang naitalang nasaktan o nasawi. Sa loob ng evacuation center, may mga nakahandang pasilidad gaya ng community kitchen, bathing area, toilet at health facility upang matiyak ang kaligtasan at kalinisan ng mga evacuee na mahagi rin ang PSWDT ng pagkain, tubig at iba pang relief goods sa mga bakwit. Kasunod naman ang paganda ng panahon dito sa Metro Manila araw ng Lunes. Nakabalik na rin sa kani-kanilang mga tahanan ang mga inilikas na residente. Para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas kumahal, Cherry Light, SMNA News.
Alright, from Pasay City, punta naman tayo sa Marikina. Sa Marikina, kumusta ang sitwasyon dyan po sa Marikina? And nandito po ang report, again, by SMNI, if I'm not mistaken, SMNI ito, no? Nandito po ang report coming from SMNI. Hold on, 126. UNTV.
Mga residente ng Marikina City na malaki ang naging tulong ng isinasagawang dredging sa Marikina River upang maiwasan ang pagbaha. Ayon kay Marikina City Mayor Maan Chodoro, sa kanilang monitoring ay walang naitalang binaha o pagbaha sa lungsod sa pagdaan ng Super Typhoon Uwan. 14.5 meters lang o hindi aabot sa first alarm status ang naitalang pinakamataas na level ng tubig bandang alas 9:45 nung linggo hanggang sa nagsimula itong bumaba dapong alas 11:30 ng gabi.
Na ngayon po hindi na masyado mula nung pinahukay ni Marcy yung ilog. Hindi na talaga umaapaw ang ilog. Pero nung araw, nasa 17 pa lang ang tubig, abot na kami hanggang bayawang ng tubig sa Bayabas. Yan po talaga ang tubig ko.
Yung dredging natin, paglilinis ng mga kanal, creeks, mga kahit gaano kaliit na drainage system sa ating mga kalsada at kalihon. Kasama na rin yung dredging ng ating ilog. Pagpapalalim at pagpapalapad nito. All year round ginagawa po yan sa Marikina. Kaya lang kapag ganitong meron tayong inaasahang mga bagyo, double time po ang kawani ng Marikina City.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin ang sitwasyon dyan po sa Marikina. Okay din, wala silang masyadong problema tungkol sa Typhoon Uwan. And narinig natin, and I was made to understand that ang DILG is investigating or will be looking into itong mga opisyales dyan po sa Cebu, na bagong dumating ito si Typhoon Tino po, na umalis sila sa area nila. Nagpunta sila sa abroad. Although ang mga travel approval or application nila approved as early as September pa yata yun, no? But they just want ang DILG, they want to investigate po kung ano talaga, bakit umalis talaga sila, bago dumating ang Typhoon Tino, no? Typhoon Tino and Typhoon Uwan. Let's see, I don't want to comment anything on that on this thing po, but kung approve man, na-approve, and nobody was expecting na darating na yon typhoon, kasi as early as September pa po, they already applied and it was approved. And let's see po, tingnan na lang natin po ano nangyari or ano mangyari po dyan sa investigation. Sana yon ang report. Sandali, tingnan natin yung report. Asaan na yun? Ang report. Hold on, Hold on, tingnan natin. Ito ba yung report?
Sa isang situation briefing sa Malacanang, binigyang diin ni
Hindi
Pangulong
pa? Okay. Saan na? Medyo nawala yata ang ano natin. But anyway, yun po, they are investigating ang sitwasyon dyan po sa...
Formal na hiningi ng Department of Interior and Local Government.
Hold on, Nandito po. Let's watch this video clip.
Formal na hiningi ng Department of Interior and Local Government mula sa Office of the Governor ng Cebu ang listahan ng mga alkalde at opisyal na humiling na makalipad papuntang Europe sa kasagsagan ng pananalasa ng Bagyong Tino. Kabilang dyan ang kopya ng kanilang travel authority. Sa dokumentong ibinigay sa News 5 ni Cebu Assistant Provincial Administrator Alvin Empases, nakalista rito ang travel authority ni Niloan Mayor Alju Fernando Frasco, Poro Mayor Edgar Rama, Tudela Mayor Herman Solante, Bourbon Mayor Nico Dotilios, San Francisco Mayor Alfredo Artiliano Jr., Pila Mayor Manuel Santiago, Katmon Mayor Avis Ginoo Monleon, Compostela Mayor Filigur Ginyo, at Sangguniang Panlalawigan Member Andre Duterte. Biyahing London sa United Kingdom ang mga opisyal na may date mula October 30 hanggang November 8. Pirmado ni Governor Baricuatro ang kanilang travel authority noong Setyembre. Ayon pa kay Empases, natuloy ang 8 opisyal sa kanilang biyahe pa London habang sinasalanta ng Bagyong Tino ang Cebu. Si Bourbon Mayor Dotilios lang daw ang nagkasala ng kanyang travel, pero ibinigay pa rin sa DILG ang kopya ng kanyang travel authority.
Actually, we submitted it already around 11:30 a.m. this morning. They will conduct due diligence.
Matatandaan binatikos ang kanilang pagbiyahe dahil natapat ito sa pananalasa ng Bagyong Tino sa Cebu. Sinubukan ng News 5 na kunin ang panig ng mga nabanggit na opisyal. Nagbabalita mula sa frontline, Gary De Leon, News.
Alright, yun ang latest updates na rinig natin tungkol sa DILG. They will look into itong mga travel trips, no? Ng mga some mayors dyan po from Cebu, no? Although their application to travel po was signed by no less than the governor dyan po sa Cebu as early as September. So let's see po, para sa akin parang it's not a big deal po. After all, kung one day before they left, dumating na may mga abiso na darating na ang typhoon po, siguro that will be another story, no? A different story. But since it was applied very early, September pa lang po, no? Now is September, October, November po, no? Medyo, I don't think so, may ano talaga ito. But anyway, okay lang, yun ang mga latest developments natin po tungkol sa Typhoon Uwan dyan sa Pilipinas. As what I said, umalis na po sa Philippine Area of Responsibility si Uwan, but he will be making a U-turn and pass by sa Philippine Area of Responsibility po, no? Either today or tomorrow, and then it will proceed, by Thursday it will proceed para sa Taiwan. Sana lang po, pagdating sa Taiwan din po, hindi din ang mga kaibigan natin, mga kababayan natin po, mga Taiwanese, mga Filipinos doon sa Taiwan po, they will not also be badly affected. So yun ang latest updates natin tungkol sa typhoon sa Pilipinas. And wag na sana po magdating pa yung mga bagong typhoon. So far, according to the Pag-asa, Weather Bureau natin sa Pilipinas, they did not see any typhoon or any cyclone na coming in or nag-spot sila po, no, sa radar nila po na darating dito sa Pilipinas. Sana okay na po ang weather condition dyan po sa Pilipinas, but still ingat pa rin tayo. Before I will conclude itong Tuesday morning natin program, NikTok, Talk with Nico, I just want to remind again na come November 16, 17, and 18, mayroon na naman mga rallies dyan po sa Pilipinas. And this time around, ang Iglesia ni Cristo will be organizing big rally dyan po sa Pilipinas, sa Luneta and EDSA Shrine area, no? sa Quezon. And I was also made to understand, and it was officially announced by the organizers, that ang grupo ng retired generals, no? Retired generals dyan sa Pilipinas po will also be organizing a rally sa November 16 po, dyan po, together with the INC po siguro, no? And they are going to show their dissatisfaction, anger ba, no? About what is happening dyan sa Pilipinas when it comes to the corruption activities, especially itong flood control projects. And hanggang ngayon po, maskin isa, wala pa na aresto or put behind bars or issued warrant of arrest. Ang INC demonstration, no? INC demonstration po, ang team nila is transparency for better democracy. This is not a political, there is no political color here po, no? And expected as what both the organizers of retired generals and of course ang INC po, no? They rally, 3 days rally ito po, no? Expected to be participated by, sabi nila, no less than 2 million people. 2 million people. And I don't know if this will trigger ETSA 3, no? ETSA 3, People's Power. People's Power 3. Because People's Power 1, yun po kay Ferdinand Marcos Sr., no? And Corazon Aquino. Yun na-take over si President or the late President Corazon Aquino from the late President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. And then ang ETSA 2 is yun yata kay Fidel, late President Fidel Ramos, no? And ETSA 3 hindi yun natuloy dahil this involves si ousting of former President of the Philippines, si Joseph Estrada. Hindi yun natuloy po, no? Kasi nag-step down si former President Estrada, Joseph Estrada. So, will this trigger People's Power 3 this month? Remember, mayroon din rally scheduled to be held on November 30 din po, no? November 30 by the trillion peso march. Trillion peso march, no? Ang grupo po. Same thing, walang sabihin natin itong political color. But since this will be a group gathering, malaking gathering ito po, no? So I hope itong mga, sana lang po, may mga grupo dyan who is taking advantage of the crowd po. They will, to create chaos po, they will not do that po. No? Filipinos, we want a peaceful rally. We just want to show our voice to the government that we no longer or we are not happy. So let's make it a peaceful rally. No? A peaceful rally. So, ganito. Hanggang dito na lang. And I will, medyo busy tayo ngayon because I will try to check din ang may mga session ba sila, House of Representative session or ang Senate session po, kasi may trabaho na, no? May trabaho na ang gobyerno today. Wala na si Uwan, and whatever updates mayroon tayo tungkol sa Pilipinas when it comes to mga plenary sessions nila both sa Kamara at saka sa Senado, I'll make sure that you will be properly informed. So in the meantime, hanggang dito na lang muna. Ito po, si Nico Fabian. Once again, would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day-to-day. Ingat kayo palagi. God bless us all. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines. Take care of yourself. Godspeed. And I'll see you in my next episode. Bye, and I love you.